Hello everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and today I'm hanging out and doing some fun hobby just for the fun of it. Actually, it's been a bit since I did some painting just for myself, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking about my Adepticon plans. As you can see, I have a bunch of scatter terrain in front of us here. It's a bunch of like blacksmith equipment. There's a Mantic kit where they have like all kinds of terrain for D&D stuff already made. So I went ahead and got those, but they are just ancillary to these bad boys. I have two boats. These are barks from the game Blood and Plunder, which is a historical skirmish game, small army game. And then if that weren't enough, in case I get bored, I do have a big old box of trogs to paint. Throw them there for us, everybody. So, yeah, we'll just jump right in. To the side. Hey, Flying Irish, Hades, how we doing? Good morning. Happy to be able to finally catch a stream again. Well, good to have you. I haven't streamed in a bit, so you haven't missed much. Gotten to a funky season of life and just kind of been down. Nothing too big to explain about it. Let's see. Pig Cat, hi. I love that name, Pig Cat. We call her our smallest cat, Gracie. We call her Ham. She's just a cute little thing. Hobby Hangout, just what I needed this morning. Nice. Forget all that. What about the Dark Oath stuff? The Dark Oath stuff looks rad. I wish I liked AOS more, but hopefully they'll come to Warcry. That's my... The same day that the Dark Oath stuff came out, I went to a local game night. I was like, okay, I got to get myself back into the zone to play AOS for Adepticon. And then after game night, I immediately came home and canceled all my AOS plans for Adepticon. I was like, I'm not having fun right now. I never liked 3rd edition, and it's just hasn't changed from a game perspective. But that being said, you're not talking about the game. You're talking about models. And models, oh yeah, those things are incredible. I'd also love to see them in, not Underworlds, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of more skirmish-sized games. Because those models are so cool. Skill issue. Let's see. My cat is called Mr. Sausage. That's funny. We have Finn and Gracie. Gracie we did not name, but inherited from a family member. And then it's like awkward. It's like, well, I don't feel like I can change the name now because you're still going to be in my life. So, yes, regarding the Dark Oath stuff, my understanding is that was an accident. They didn't mean to share it early. That they had a video that was going to be something else and then they accidentally put the wrong thing up. That's at least the way Brent from Rerolling Ones explained it to me. But absolutely stunning models. Absolutely. This is longer than one of my... Well, I appreciate it. Underworlds is the best game you'll ever play. Are they doing Underworlds at Adepticon? I did not even look, but I only have Saturday open. So unless they're doing it then, it doesn't really matter for me, unfortunately. But I wouldn't mind. If nothing else, like Warcry and Underworlds, the reason I'm always so ready to try them, even if I'm not like necessarily in the mood, it's because in 45 minutes you can either have a game that's done and you can go do something else you want to do, or you're having a blast and you can just set up a second one. It's just like very straightforward, and I like that. Let me guess, they wanted to reveal the Dark Oath stuff at Adepticon. Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. I was just, he made it seem like it was an accident. Maybe he's just misunderstanding or misreading how it was posted. Because I didn't see it until they had already gone back and were like, oh yeah, here's all the pictures. Like they do sometimes when they have a gaffe. Underworlds is the best game. So tell me, Hades, why do you like Underworlds? I went to a local game night, and I want to make this clear, it has nothing to do with the person I was playing against. It was just, we played 1,000 points. They had Lumineth, I had Gloomspite Gitz, and throughout the entire course of the game, 5 rounds, I got a single move, just because I got penned in by all his Wind Riders so aggressively, and the last time I went to a game night before that, something very similar happened when I was doing my Flesh Eater court. So I got to the point where I was like, I'm just not having fun. At least at 1,000 points, which is all I'm up for on a weeknight. Fair, but if you're saying it wasn't supposed to be revealed Monday, then that makes me feel like there's something supposed to drop at Adepticon. Doug knows secrets that he can't share, and you're not wrong. Anywho, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was the original plan. It seems like something they would do. Like, if it got out early, they would then just lean in and just do a full reveal. And maybe there'll be a fuller, you know, reveal at Adepticon or something. Or maybe something that kind of puts them into greater context. I like that Warcry is cheaper to try different armies than full AOS. Oh, of course. Yes, and yeah, and not just try, man. Collect everything. Hey, Doug. Hey, chat. Hey. Wait, are the Dark Oath a whole new faction? No, it still says slaves. I mean, I don't know. Someone who read more into the article can definitely do it for me. I've been on the road all day yesterday. I didn't read the article. I just saw the pictures. But it still says Slaves to Darkness on the box. So I'm assuming it's just like they're redoing the Marauder kits. Seeing as how the best unit in the faction, like 10 years in a row, has consistently been the ugliest models. They were just like, guys, we can't keep doing this. Every 3D printing company is eating us alive with alternate Marauder models because we know that ours are garbage. It's a supplement, like Iron Jaws. What? I don't know if I would call it a supplement, but I see what you mean, like part of a greater whole of an army, like war clans, yeah. Oh wait, you're thinking supplement like they got with the Dawnbringer Crusade. Never mind. Okay, when I hear supplement, I'm thinking like an ancillary book that's more like White Scars to Space Marines, but that's not what the Iron Jaws had. I see what you're saying now. Let's see. Just wanted to... Fair enough. I'm gonna pop in and say hi. I'm stuck in the rain working today. Have a good paint session. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Hope work goes well. Making our boat of rich mahogany. Smells of many leather-bound books, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. The rigging and all that kind of stuff later. Now for mine, I didn't follow the instructions where they had you basically make the boat and then do the rigging. I wanted to do this because I wanted to try something. I put the rigging up, the rigging being the string and the sails and all that kind of stuff, and I then Mod Podged the hell out of it. Rather than having like a finished model with just random like light string on it, I was like, well, what if we Mod Podge it and then like, not, it won't be solid, but kind of strengthen it, certainly make it more rigid. And so I built the whole thing while my wife and I were watching murder mystery or true crime documentaries, and just say it turned out pretty well. Probably not the way that they intended it, but that's all right. It looks like a boat. Let's see. Oh, I fell behind the chat. Give me 1 second here. Let me catch up. I'm going to a beginner's tournament on Saturday. I'm bringing Ionis because he's so pretty. Can't wait to breathe fire on people. Nice. Well, I hope you have a wonderful time. Nice. It's coming together. Is it Shakira? It is Shakira, yes. This is my lo-fi covers. I'm always either playing this or my lo-fi paint list, which is just, I mean, they're unique lo-fi songs, but a lot of folks like the covers. But in general, if you're ever like just, what are we listening to on my channel? It's probably like Shakira, Rihanna. Who else we got? I don't know. I'm not like a big music person. I never have been. But there's a few artists that I'm like, you know what? You're consistent enough to have on in the background without me feeling like I need to change the song every 10 minutes. I.e. favorite artist. That's pretty how much low my bar is. Okay, I'm going to let one big boat dry. We're going to move on to our little pig pen here. This is from, I believe, Reaper Miniatures. It's a pig cart. And I didn't know I needed it until I saw it. But it is exactly what it says. It's a giant wooden cart, and then there's a pig that came with it that I'm going to use for objective play in Blood and Plunder. Or as an objective in that style of game. Cool. What else is wood? Yeah, this thing. This is our pig pen feeder. Let's see. Has the boat been named yet? Is it Bodie McBoatface? If the boat has not been named yet, here's what I'm gonna do. Chat, you are open to naming my two barks. So we have the one directly in front of you that we're painting as we sprechen. And then just off here in the top right, there's a second identical one. Here's what I would like. Here's my naming conventions, okay? One can't be anything lewd or whatever, because family-friendly nature. But I would really love it if we had a silly name for one and like an over-the-top austere name for the other. So, for example, Bodie McBoatface, believe it or not, would be our silly name. Oh, you know what I should do? I'm a huge fan of Arrested Development. I should have one named the C word. You're getting rid of the C word. Don't you dare call me that. For those of you who never watched the show and didn't get the joke, it is spelled SEAWARD C word. I think that's going to be my fancy one name. The Crump and the Azure Dragon. I like that. That's a good one. Good morning, folks. Hey, hey. What's the boat for? D&D wargame put in a bottle. So the boat is actually for the game Blood and Plunder, which is a historical-ish. I say ish because there's some elements to it, but miniatures game set in the Spanish Main. I think the golden age of pirates and stuff like that, where it wasn't so much nations. Well, nations were at war with one another, but like this kind of battle is the American Caribbean, where it's like privateers. So they're funded and supported by nation states, but they're like independent businessmen, privateers. Yes. So it's less historical in the sense of like you're not really trying to like represent massive cataclysmic things, but just kind of more encounter battles that happen in the Spanish Main. Which is nice because it's then it kind of takes off, I think, some of the not stigma. That's not the word I want to use. For me, historical wargaming is one of those things where, like, I'm into it if the game makes sense. Like, if we're gonna play, I was at Gettysburg for one of my wife's book signings, and there was a bunch of guys there playing a Gettysburg style game. I don't actually know. It was a very specific game, not like a war game that I've ever played or we've ever chatted about on the channel. But I was into it because even though I'm not a historical person by nature, like when it's all set up and it's meant to be like, this army versus this other one, and it's pretty straightforward, it's all kind of sensical and you know generally what's going on, I'm into it. When you do something like Bolt Action, which I love the game of Bolt Action, but the reason I bring this out is when I lived in Seattle, there was a group that wanted an alternative to 40K, and they picked Bolt Action, which is fine. It's a great game by Warlord, and if you haven't tried it, it's got some super unique ideas that are a ton of fun. But it's a historical game, and I didn't get into it as an alternative to anything else. Like, if we're gonna play Bolt Action, I want to play like a historical game and get into it and have like regiments that make sense and battles from campaign books and all that. Nope, everything was the most competitive, the most in your face, and just like, okay, then what are we doing? Why not just play 40K? If we're gonna play games the way that they're not intended, we might as well just stick with the expensive one we've all already bought into. It's kind of how I felt about that, about getting into Bolt Action at that point. Now at this point in my life, I absolutely would actually have a local group of Bolt Action guys who have been very, very vocal about wanting me to come over for a game night and come play. Are you trying to disturb historical canon? Yes, basically. Let's see. My only problem with Soulbound. Oh, Pigcat. I'm enjoying your Soulbound lores recently. Might see if my RPG group wants to try it out after our current campaign. Yeah, oh, go ahead. And if you decide to, and if even if it's not Ulfengarn, but if you tell me in a comment or something like that what section you're going into, Anvilgard just won the poll I put up on our community tab for the next city we're going to explore. But Anvilgard's great because if you're trying to get your RPG group into it, like there's already 3, I think, adventures set in Anvilgard. Like printed adventures that you can just jump into and play. And I was going to start there, but then they sent me Ulfengarn and were like, hey, this is coming out soon, actually. Can you try this? And I was like, ooh. Don't mind if I does. Let's see. I love all my children equally. Early that day. I don't much care for Job. Exactly right. We quote that so much. Yes, that, Futurama, and... Oh, man. What We Do in the Shadows we quote a lot. What other ones we got? I mean, we also quote, believe it or not, Fact or Fiction, but that's more in jest. If you haven't watched it, like the old school one with, oh man, what's his name? Riker. I can't think of his name right now. But if you don't know the premise of it, basically it's an American show, for those of you overseas, where it was in the early 2000s, 90s. It ran for a while. But they show you 3 vignettes, okay? Like short stories. Terrible acting. Awful plot. We watch them to make fun of them. And the idea is they're all unbelievable, and at the end of the show they tell you which ones are fact or fiction. Meaning you have to be able to guess which one is real and which one's fake. And we love this show ironically because it is just the lowest budget, worst acting. And then every single time at the end of it, you're like, that's a bunch of bull. There's no way that was real. And you learn that, like, the way that they measure quote-unquote reality is a little loosey-goosey. And it's super fun. Becomes more fun depending on how inebriated you are, but you know what I mean. Not everyone's into the cringe humor of watching something just to kind of get a chuckle out of how bad it is, but I understand. My dream is to be an actor who works on shows like Fact or Fiction. That is my ideal level of fame. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I could achieve that, I would be really happy. Doug, you mean that guy who was on Fact or Fiction once or twice? But you've probably, even if you haven't watched the show, if you're on like TikTok or Instagram, you've probably heard some of the Jonathan Frakes, that's his name, lines from that show. Because every segment starts the same. He walks into a big open room with his little man heels on, and because like you just hear his feet slamming, and then he asks a rhetorical question, and people have put together like big montages of his rhetorical questions, and they're just hysterical. Like, Jonathan Frakes asks you things, and it's just the most unhinged stuff. Actually, I'm gonna play one now. because this isn't about you guys anymore. I need to hear Jonathan Frakes ask me questions. Give me a second. All right, let's do this. This man was able to tell the future by eating a pickle and choking on it. Fact or fiction? This one's fact, confirmed by author Robert Traylands. And you're like, no. Okay, here we go. Jonathan Frakes asks you things.
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where you parked your car? Ever gone mountain biking? Have you ever walked out of a mall into a huge parking area and realized you'd forgotten where
This is most of my marriage, by the way.
Ever gone mountain biking? What do you want to be when you grow up? What's the right tip? Have you called a plumber to your home lately? How superstitious are you? How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery? Would you display this as a trophy? Do you have a pet? Do you have a sweet tooth? Do you believe in the power of a curse? Have you had your hearing tested lately? Planning a trip soon? Can you remember the tallest man you've ever seen? Do you love to go wandering beneath a clear blue sky? Have you noticed what big stars real estate agents have become? Are you careful with your computer? Does your computer ever seem to have a mind of its own? Have you ever visited a Chinatown section in a major city? Have you ever visited a flea market? Have you ever visited a truck stop?
You
Do you
ever
ever have a job as a waiter? Have you noticed how many successful restaurants are theme-based?
Theme-based
Have you ever had the desire to write your initials in wet cement?
I love him to death.
Flea market?
I know it's dumb. I know it's super dumb, but I absolutely love it. Oh, man. And so sometimes Jess and I will be having conversations at dinner, and just to mess with people, we'll start asking each other these questions without, like, we have a cousin who is very, she talks a mile a minute, and she can't handle this. When I just lean over, I'm like, hey, Jess, do you want to go wandering under the pale moon sky? Oh, yeah. Hey, Doug, have you noticed what a big successful rock star real estate agents have become lately? Just no context asking each other these questions. It's amazing. Okay, back to music. Do you remember the tallest man? Yes, exactly it. So yes, we like to do that to people all the time. You'll like to go wandering under a pale moon sky. How much money would it take to get you to spend a night in the cemetery? Doug, are you having a stroke? Turn that down a little bit. But yes, that was... I hope everyone enjoyed my little insight into my personal life of just... That's basically most nights we'll hang out. And that's our guilty pleasure show. Just if we're having a rough day, we'll just watch that, because no matter how bad you feel about what you do in life, you should feel better about that than how these actors ended up with their legacy of screen time. They're not. If you're an actor in that, you shouldn't feel ashamed. It's really cool. There actually are some stars, some like really, really young stars in there that popped up randomly. But it's not just about the acting in terms of their skill. It's like it's everything. It's the writers, the dialogue, everything. Oh, it's so bad. And then after every story that they would tell, Jonathan Frakes would have a pun, and it's just amazing. I mean, they're all terrible. They're all the worst puns. Like, he visibly looks shooken every time he has to say one, but but they're worth it. Let's see. Any chance you'll be going to Nova this year? Nope, not this year for me, sadly. I have, well, aside from a lot of other things going on, about you guys. I have definitely seemed to develop some kind of travel anxiety, which, fair enough, the world fell apart, but you know, makes it difficult. Sorry to change topic, but then listening to Grom Brindle book, they would ever refreshing combined all 3 flavors under one book. Do I think they would? Maybe? Do I think they should? Nah. Would? I don't know. I can't. I feel like if they were going to, wouldn't they have done it already? That's kind of my thought. I just feel like by now they would have seen either the success or failure in their eyes as designers, because they have a different perspective of the War Clans book, and then would look at it and be like, ah, this will totally work. Or not. So I don't know. I wouldn't want them to, unless there's one thing that could make me want them to. If they combined Fire Slayers and KO, and whether or not they included the other dwarves or not, honestly doesn't really matter to me. But to include those two, I feel like Grimnir has to come back, and I want a story about those two working together again, or some kind of iteration that touches on, like, bringing all 3 factions together and only one of them has a deity that they don't like, and there's no direction for them because they're so different. Like, part of why Orc War Clan works for me is because all those factions independently would just hang out together and kill stuff together. But I don't know. I would love to. I would love to, provided that they did it in a fun way. Does that make sense? Like, it's not a cool enough idea, like, just on its own, for me personally. Like, oh, all the dwarves together. It's like, well, I like the Fire Slayers. I like the way they are. I like the KO the way they are. I don't feel the need to combine them. But if we could inject something fun, new, and unique in there, hell yeah. Oh, actually, I have a question. So I kind of missed the release of it, but you had that new vampire lady with the snakes come out. Is she any good? Like, game-wise? Like, I saw the, you know, kind of like her background or dossier, but I didn't really look at the rules. Is she any good in the game? Or I assume it's Soulblight Gravelords, right? Okay. To be fair, I wish we would get more dwarf models, but on the fence about diving into Fire Slayers, but would like more variety. Oh my gosh, yeah, you and everybody else, man. Sorry, I was assuming something. But, yeah. Like, forgive me, I look a little wild today, and my camera's not dialed in because I didn't realize I was going to be showing my face. But one of the things that really stuck out to me with the Flesh Eater Courts book is that when they injected the new Vargolf Courtier and the Knight guys, the Bat Riders, and honestly even just the Guard, the new Foot Soldiers, it just added so many new like visual silhouettes to the faction that even if they don't do much, even when you see pictures of them or people on the tabletop, like they just look more interesting than a Fire Slayer's army does. And I think that's exactly what they need. They just need some different looking stuff. Naked Baby 1. Naked Baby 2. What are the odds of Dispossessed getting further support with Old World being a thing? Well, since Old World is trying to sell us models that came back 25 years ago, I'm going to say minimal. That's not me being negative. That's them selling you a Pegasus Knight model. Full price. So, meaning instead of making a new one. I'm going to say minimal at best. That's my call. I don't know. I don't think the Old World means much when it comes to their future plans, and I feel like they've been pretty clear about that, but I understand. We all get excited. This is just my, Doug, do you like curling? Curling. Is that the thing where, like, they slide the puck on the ground and everyone, like, surrounds it with squeegees? Or am I thinking of a different sport? Yeah, okay. Can't say as I know much about it, other than it seems like a very extravagant way to play, like, I don't know, cornhole or something like that. One of those farm games where you're trying to throw the hacky sack into the box. In terms of, like, who can be close? That's never occurred to me. My high school years were in San Antonio, Texas, so like the idea of any form of winter sport. If it was in the Winter Olympics, I did not have it unless it was like bobsledding in a trash can or something like that. You make your own fun. I think that should be the new. It's a rock and they are brooms. Ah. I think one year there should just be an Olympics where we, like, everyone has to... Okay. Imagine the Olympics, but 6 months before the event, you ask some random person in New York on the side of the street to describe each event, and those are the rules by which every competitor has to figure it out. So if it's like, oh yeah, curling, that's when they use the squidgies and they have the big hockey puck, and so I expect the Olympic organization to requisition a custom-made 40-pound hockey puck that is, hockey legal, get a bunch of squeegees, and now they have to play it that way. That's my opinion. I want that. And I also want a normal person at the Olympics next to all the demigods, just so we have a sense of scale of abilities. Why New York? Oh, I was just thinking of, like, whenever you see TikTok videos of them just pulling somebody off the street, a lot of times it's in New York, Times Square kind of a thing. Just hitting up people for either polling questions or fun game stuff. But also because I like to think that There's a certain kind of Americana that exudes from New York and New York alone. I can say this, I was in Jersey till I was 16, and then we moved to Texas. I get into watching normal people Olympics. Oh, yeah. I'll say this for Sekar, she's got a surprisingly good spell on her war scroll, but everything else doesn't feel like enough to me because you want to play Soul Blade. Yeah. Man, that's a bummer. It's a bummer when a player feels like the faction has been distilled into a single keyword. Summonable. That's not fun to me. I'll be honest, I can't remember if I talked about this towards the top of it. So we had a local game night here on Monday. I had such an unfun time playing AOS that I just came home and collected myself out of the Dawnbringers event at Adepticon. I was like, I just don't wanna. Just don't wanna. I'll come back around on 4th edition, see how it is. But game-wise, nah. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with... I put myself on the wait list for the Dogs of War Warcry event. Yeah. Are you still in Texas? No, I have been everywhere. It's gonna sound very confusing. I was raised in Jersey till I was 16, moved to Texas throughout high school, and then we've lived all around everywhere at this point. Right now we're in Iowa, greater Des Moines area. Okay, we got our 3 most snot-like colors, and we are going to dab them randomly into the base of this, and then put on a thing of Mod Podge to seal it, and then, what is it? Nurgle's Rot along the corners. Are you still playing Conquest? I would love to, except I have not found a local group since we moved. But I would really like to. Paint can kind of exploded. Third edition not doing well. I've been out of the loop. So for me, 3rd edition, I struggled with it since its beginning. But I keep finding games to be non-interactive, and it takes so stinking long to get everything set up that if a game doesn't feel like I get to participate, why am I here? I know that I'm not the best player, but I am not bad. I'm actually very good at when it comes to like bubble wrapping your units and kind of deciding what the objective is and playing for it and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm actually quite good at the fundamentals of the game. But like I played several games 1K because 2K games take way the F too long. So I'm playing multiple 1K games and I just keep getting just blown off the table before I even have a chance to do anything. I played 5 rounds of Gloomspite Gits. I got 1 move phase, 1 charge phase because I got pinned in so hard by Lumineth Wind Riders or whatever. And you might say like, well, that's just what they do, Lumineth. But that's also... Okay, well, playing other games is what I can do. Okay. Point, counterpoint, make a better game. What I think the system lacks, really, is like a combat patrol equivalent where something that's designed to work at low levels. Not just kind of, but that's its point. I'm gonna let this nasty little gunk dry, and then I have some like acrylic filler stuff I can put in there to fill it up to make like a water effect. So that's the plan there. A lot of games have become super non-interactive because of battle tactics. Lists aren't built to take objectives and or kill the enemy anymore. They're built to only do battle tactics. Isn't that the new spearhead boxes? Well, that's the rumor. I mean, that's my understanding of the rumor. To my knowledge, they have not confirmed that. Which warband will you take to Adepticon? I don't actually know. I actually just changed that on my schedule this morning. As far as stuff I have painted ready to go, I should have enough for both a Flesh Eater Quartz and a Gloomspite Gitz Force. So when I'm done with this, I'm probably gonna see if I can go find a copy of the Army Rules or whatever. And I have like the where do they have the cards or whatever they used to have? Because they changed the game so freaking much in the time that I put all my stuff away. I don't even know what's good anymore. So like not good, but like what is still in play. So like they came out with the armies books that had everything from each Grand Alliance and all the rules for everything. Is that still like my go-to book if I wanted to play Gloomspite Gitz? Also, how'd you get pinned by wind chargers or super fragile with 10 wounds, 5 up save? They don't, dude, if you're fighting like Boingrot Bounders who don't get a charge, you don't need much. You just don't need much. And in 1,000 points, like he took out my Loon boss on with the big Masha guy pretty swiftly. I mean, I say wind chargers. It wasn't just wind chargers. There was Dawnbringers on one side that went to Squigs. The Squigs hit them, which my opponent was not too thrilled about. But fun to see. And then on the other side was his everything else, and I never left my deployment zone. And like, when I say they don't have to be killed, they just have to not let me leave. So like, if I can't get any kind of charge bonuses, they're sad pandas. If I can't... I just started Warcry, but I have used Warcrier website for reference. Ooh, let's check that out. Come, fam, let us away. What? This is the greatest thing ever. Okay, well, this was just introduced to me, and now I'm taking you all with me. Okay, Warcrier. Alliance destruction. Wait, why did it take me here? Battles are drawn, okay. That seemed really silly to have it dump you onto a GW site page for that one link. It was just that one link. It must have been telling you where you could get the rules, but it was like their advertisement page. Okay, let's see what we got here. Ooh. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, I see. So this is everything from the range, including the Underworld's warbands, which have separate rules. Okay, I was like, that just doesn't. Some of this isn't making sense. I get it now. Sweet. What's a Trog look like? Let's take a look at that. I've never seen what their stat line is. Right? Did I pass him? Are there no Trogs in the Destruction faction? Wait, what? There's a YouTuber called Salty C who recommends it. He just talks about Warcry. Oh, okay, I'll check that out. Thank you. Trogs aren't part of Gits in the traditional sense. They're referred to as thralls of Oh, okay. So they made them their own kind of monster. I see. Gotcha. Yeah. Holy smokes. Okay. I have to say, this is a very intense, not very user-friendly way to sort information, because it's all just kind of like put on the same level. Helps to kind of filter some of that stuff out. But I will say this is very cool. So what's battles? Okay, I see. Hey, 28 wounds, that ain't bad. Okay. Which I think means they can be allied into. My understanding for the Thrall monsters, and I'll have to double check this before I build any lists, is that they can be bought into it, but there's more limitations on them when it comes to things like campaigns and that kind of stuff. That's my understanding of it, at least before, because I used to take Chaos Turkeys from the core set, because I loved them. They were the best. Not at anything in particular. Okay, we're going to come back here. So anyway, thank you, Pigcat. That's a fantastic resource. I will be looking at that. This site rules. Afternoon, friends. Hey, Denny. I grab some black wash and we'll get all of these tombstones. Haven't played Warcry in a while. I only prefer with painted models. So just avoided Trogs. I could see that. Yeah, all I have right now is I have the Flesh Eater Quartz, like the Fancy Pants starter set that they had, plus I think like 2 or 3 things of horrors to go with them, because those are my favorite units. So that, I mean, that might be a stronger choice if I care about list building and stuff, but I don't. Make me want to paint. Oh, good. You should paint. Unless you're at work or driving. There's not a ton of detail on these headstones, so I'm not going crazy. I'm going to dry brush over them with a light stone anyway, so that'll pick up most of it. I just want to get inside the recesses. The one event I am very excited for, I cannot tell you enough. There's a few at Adepticon. One is certainly the Space Station Zero thing. If you don't know, Space Station Zero is a model agnostic game by the guys Vince Ventrella and Adam Loper. So it's Tabletop Minions, I think is the name of the channel. I don't know why I always my brain farts right. I feel very confident saying Tabletop Minions until I get to the Minions part, and then I'm like, maybe it's another word I've never heard of. But yes, they're having a Welcome to Space Station Zero type event, just to kind of introduce people to the game, so I'm excited about that. I almost never look into competitive Warcry. To me, that kind of ruins the fun. Yeah. I think, to me, when I build I haven't played since second, so take this for what it is, but when I would play Warcry, my thought process for the list was to look at my special abilities and be like, okay, what do I want to be able to do? Right, you're kind of building the toolbox, and so for example, Untamed Beast, they had that guy with the big harpoon. He's in every list, because you never know when you're going to need a harpoon, and it's better to have a harpoon and not need a harpoon than need a harpoon and not have a harpoon. And you know what? I always found a need for it. Turns out, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Finish. How to make a decent Lumineth warband, but I was just told to basically not, which is unfortunate. Oh, Lumineth for Warcry? Oh, they got to be bad somewhere. Weird that it had to end up being Warcry. That's still Ryan. I say we're going to pause these little guys because all that wash needs to dry. We're going to go back to boats. Yes, that's generally how I try to build my list, either around my abilities, some way to patch in a hole. Yeah. I also do the Blood Bowl kind of list building trick, which is I'll start the list, what's the cheapest unit in my army that I have access to? I'm going to buy one of those with no upgrades just to make sure I have... This is Billy. Billy's job is to go get objectives. That's all Billy does. If Billy does something else, something's gone terribly wrong. competitive innovation happened. At least my least favorite guy came back to the meta tech list. Yeah. What do you think of gnomes for Blood Bowl? Oh, wait, do I think of the gnomes? Do they have gnomes? Or do you mean the halflings? The gardening gnomes. Nope. I have no idea. I haven't seen them yet. Blood Bowl is a bit outside of my my purview. The most Blood Bowl I ever played was watching Super Bowl with T-Swift. That's the closest I ever got to understanding the game of American football. No, I have played Blood Bowl, the video game, and I like it because it does all the calculations for you. I just don't like having to keep track of the amount of special rules. But that being said, I do enjoy the game quite a bit. I think it has a lot of really cool, unique tactical things as far as like working the crowd and not getting too close to the edge. Like there's just a lot of cool little stuff that didn't have to be there that I feel like makes it a lot of fun. Okay, highlight round 1 done. Holy moly, is that a ship from Blood and Plunder? Yes, it is. Sorry, I have hiccups. Yes, Blood and Plunder. This is their... Believe it or not, their little guy. This is the Bark. I'm doing the Blood and Plunder narrative event on Thursday, I want to say it is? No. I don't know, it's the Attack on Panama one, the first one they're doing. And I'm very excited. I have my 250 painted up for my Spanish army, and if you guys didn't see it, because I know that not everyone here is into historical games, but the guys at Fire a Lot Games, who make Blood and Plunder, announced a new game coming in the spring called Port Royal, or Port Royal, but depends on which colonizer is talking about it. Depends on, you know, that'll change the flair. But essentially, if you don't know, Port Royal was a place in Jamaica that was hit by a really nasty earthquake during like this golden age of piracy. And so they're essentially making a Mordheim-esque history game where you have to like seize Port Royal, all of its different districts are all in disarray, full piratey goodness, and I'm very excited about it. And what's great, that really caught my eye when I saw it, is it's going to play on a 2x2 table. Now, if you know me, I love skirmish games. I love small tables because people can actually fit them in their homes. Why would you design a game that requires a table that no one can fit? Personal opinion. But it's 2x2, and I actually took a pic. A little difficult for me to share during stream, but I have a 2x2 board that I made for Carnival, another game, skirmish game, and it's the best board size. I just think it is. It is It is wonderful. Anyway, I took some of that Carnival terrain and mapped out how I want to build my board. So there's a canal, just like there would have been one going through Port Royal. And I have these two boats, and I have like wooden planks I'm going to make that go from boat to boat. I already measured them out, got the whole little blueprint going. So I'll be doing that after this stream. But basically, I'm creating a really fun board where you're running around Port Royal, hopping from boat to boat to get across the city fast. Just one sec here. I'm just kind of doing this closer to my face so I don't punch the camera. Nice. Okay, with that done, let's move on. Next, we have Decomposed Flesh, which is the exact same as Ushabti Bone. A random thought, how would you make a Mordheim style game in the AOS setting? Well, I would probably start the same way that they did, which is 2x2 board. I don't care. If it's going to be a skirmish game, it needs to fit on a kitchen table. That's my thought. No, none of this 4x4 crap either. 3x3 at the high end. So I'll start there. How would I do it? I don't know. My thing is, I think I like Warcry as a game. I think if it wanted to be kind of filling the more campaign-ish niche of Mordheim, it doesn't have enough stats. There's just not enough levers to play with. So like Mordheim, you could have different kinds of accuracy and combat and defense, but because they minimized all of that to make Warcry so simple, like some of those levers just don't exist to pull without breaking the game really, really quick. Have you ever seen or played Moonstone? So I only saw it last year at Adepticon. And then I did a bunch of Google searching, and I am very interested in that game. Yes. Haven't played it, but if anyone knows the creator and they want it to be covered, let me know. Because it struck me as an incredibly interesting game. My understanding, for those of you, and please, if you know the game system better, please correct me. My understanding is that before the game starts, you get a fistful of D4s, and you just literally roll them on the table, and wherever they land, that's your objective, and whatever they're worth, or something like that. The numbers mean they have a relevancy to them. I love when I hit the dry brush a little too hard, and it almost makes the boat looks a little striped, so I gotta pull that out here. I'm happy you brought up Carnival here, though. I'm still hoping for that hard to play video. Oh! Yeah, I should definitely get back into that game. Full disclosure, I got into it because of my buddy Rob back in Iowa City. We played it a few times and had a wonderful time. I went whole hog and built up a unreasonable amount of terrain for it. The city square of Vienna. And it's fine because I use those for Blood and Plunder too, because it all works. It's all the same scale, roughly. But Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Carnival, that was the first thing when I canceled my AOS event. That I was like, I remember last year there was a super cool Carnival thing that I was hovering over, and I wish that I had signed up for. But the guy's not running it this year, so that's all right. I don't think GW would need to change Warcry to make it in AOS Mordheim. After all, both Kill Team and Necromunda exist for 40k, so rather GW... Oh yeah, you don't... You mean they can exist together? Yes. Yeah, there's no reason. They don't need to do anything. In fact, all it does is benefit us as players the more games they keep making that we can use the same models for. Right? Like, if every year they were like, hey, listen, we have a goal. We're Games Workshop. We're going to workshop the games. Every single year, we're going to come out with 6 new titles. And, you know, and let's say that they're all as big as... Even if they were all just as big as, like, those ones they have at Barnes & Noble, like those little, like, Dungeon Diver games or whatever, like, that's still more creative ways to use your models than just keep pumping out different versions of the General's Handbook. I mean, I feel like that's still more creative than that, but alright. But I agree. I don't think that they would... I mean, they certainly wouldn't have to, like, delete Warcry for anything. I don't think that's certainly necessary. And I do like the game system. I like the setup. I like the abilities and that kind of stuff. I actually really like that. Because it's this nice element of random, but also if you're obviously going to be in a good place if you are really well aware of what abilities you have access to at any given moment when you start seeing those triples and doubles start rolling in. That's cool to me. And ultimately, that's what I like in games. It's just those little bits of, like, where it's very easy to see the difference between someone who gets the game and someone who's, like, really, really good at it. I feel like there should be in every game some kind of, like, yeah, this is impossible, master, difficult to learn, or whatever. Like, easy to learn, difficult to master kind of a deal. When you were... Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't have enough stats. No. I just meant it just requires a different approach. Like, when I say Mordheim doesn't have enough levers and that kind of stuff, what I mean is I'm not going to try and fit the Mordheim peg into the Warcry hole. So we got to start over with something else. Not that it's any less than because it doesn't have those levers, but just like I think it requires a different kind of design ethos. For long-term campaign play versus, you know, short, quick, and brutal, which is what I think Warcry excels at. Here's a reminder of why you like Warhammer in 40 minutes. That's all I want. I left the game night after just having a completely non-interactive experience twice in a row playing AOS. And I just came home and I sat with my wife and I was like, you know, sometimes I wonder if I even like this stuff anymore. And it's true. I mean, not that I don't like it anymore. That isn't true. But, like, I think about that because I just had such a not fun time. But the truth is, like, no, actually, I adore this stuff. It's just this game. AOS. I love Mordheim. I haven't played Kill Team, but I do want to try it. Yeah, I think Warcry is great. Underworld's not my favorite game system-wise, but I still like it. I still feel like I'm in the game. Oh, apologize. Yes, I understand. I was a little confusing there. I jumped around. I tend to do that. But yes, I'm excited for Space Station Zero thing. And event I was excited for at Adepticon this year. Somebody asked. Fallout. I'm excited for Fallout. They're doing Wasteland Warfare, and then there's also going to be demos for their new game, the Nuka World one, which I'm also very excited to try. They essentially, it is like Fallout Wasteland Warfare, but way streamed down, rather than trying to be like an analog version of the video game, which is what I tell people Wasteland Warfare is. That's what it is. Trying to be, as opposed to a war game, as GW would put it, where it's not trying to be an analog anything. It's just its own thing. Wasteland Warfare definitely straddles the line between video game and tabletop simulation of a video game, which is just kind of a fun place to be. Any of you guys play or have played what's the Mantic rank and plank game? Kings of War. There we go. Have any of you guys played Kings of War? There's a local, semi-local event over in Nebraska who's running it, and I know very little about it. The most I ever learned about it was when Fantasy Battles first went down, and everyone was like, oh my god, GW has abandoned us. Where shall we take our angst? And they all brought it to Mantic, so God bless them. But I was curious, because I mean, like, and when I don't make that as a joke at the game's expense, but rather like the approach people took to find a replacement, the desperation there was just kind of like, you can still play Fantasy Battles. No one's done. No one's taking away your toys. What's that? I'm the only one who has that opinion? Oh, okay. Guess I'll go die. It's basically internet circa 2005 for me, or 2015. Hello. Head off now. Have a nice day. Hey, take it easy. Thank you so much for sharing your resources, Big Cat. I appreciate it. Hello, Elrit. My camera just decided like we're never focusing again. What the heck? Apologies, everyone. Okay. No, I think since we're talking about more time ideas, I think for me the biggest thing that a game needs to decide if it's going to be more time like is are you a campaign game or are you in favor? Are you designed around one-offs? I feel like it could be like Necromunda, which has both modes, of course. But anyone who plays Necromunda will tell you that that is a campaign-focused game. One of the very few things I know about Kings of War is their Dark Elf faction, the Twilight Kin. I'd get them if they had more models like their Twilight Impaler. Not familiar with those, but right on. I know the Kings of War models are cheap D&D models. Fair enough. You're going up and down with your volume there for a bit, Doug. I apologize. Yes, I realized I was moving away from the mic ever so slightly. Let's see, trying to think. I know people were really into their zombie models for a bit before GW redid theirs. I remember listening to Garage Hammer with Dave Whitek. I think he had like over 100 of those Mantic zombies because they were just like the best sculpts for the longest time. I mean, just for the longest time. Yesterday, I almost ruined my own whole career. I say in jest. I was outside priming, and on one hand I was priming, on the other hand I was spraying Munitorum varnish, and I was within a millisecond of priming models that I intended to varnish, like fully painted models that I almost ruined by dousing with black primer. Coming along. I use those zombies for my vampire counts army back, even fantasy battles. Yeah, that's what he was doing too. And he's like, yeah, there's just nothing else on the market like them. I remember him saying that, and I never played vampire counts, but him saying that prompted me to go look at them, and I was like, oh yeah, I could paint 3,000 of these. It says every zombie player. Just the smallest dash of a yellow ogre for hay reasons. I'm trying to think of other sculpts I know of theirs. I don't know much. Just in general and also about them. I don't know. I did a Kings of War demo at Adepticon last year, and the guy was so nice. I can't emphasize that enough for the rest of the story. But he's like, "Hey, have you played any war games before?" And I'm like looking to my left and right. I'm like, "We're at Adepticon, bro." Yes, couple. He's like, "Okay," and so he takes me through it, and like we're playing like the very basic demo, the kind that you would have like online for someone who's never rolled dice before. And I was very thankful for his time, and I let him know. But over the course of we're doing this, I'm like, so I understand this, right? This is pretty common to other games. What is it that's interesting about this compared to? And then I would be like, comparing movement phase rules or something like that. And the guy just like didn't have an answer for me for a single question. It got to the point where I left and I was like, I don't know if that guy knows a goddamn thing about Kings of War. Like he knew the spiel. When it came time to interact or ask like that next level of questions about like, okay, so how does a game like function, and what how many dice do I need to play, those kinds of questions, it was just nothing. Quick question: I sent you a few pictures of a board game model and its associated art. Can you recommend me what colors I should use? Wait, do you mean like how you want to paint it and you're asking how to achieve that? Or do you mean like you're going to show me a model and then with no idea what you want it to look like? If I sent you a picture, I could try, but I'm going to warn you. My style is based upon getting the best looking result with the least amount of effort, so if you're looking for you know, to win any awards with it. I'd probably say go elsewhere. But I understand. I'm happy to help if I can. I am going to be out a little bit today after this, so I might not see that immediately. Do you want me to DM it to you or post it on the Discord? I mean, either way. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to check it here today, but Discord if you like. I did pretty good. I woke up today just not really wanting to do anything. Oh, hey, finally caught a live stream. Usually watch them as regular vids. Well, hey, welcome. Since you caught me live, do you have any questions you want to ask? You're open to ask anything. Worst I can say is no comment. I feel like this one's going to be a pretty rough replay just because it's just me whipping a boat around like at weird angles for quite a bit of time. Camera not being able to focus on anything because there's like a mast in its face. You know, quality content. I'll go back once I'm done with the sails and touch up the beam that runs between them, but that's okay. Hi, Doug. Hi, Sean. Is up, everybody. Feel free to ask any questions you like. I'll probably be on for 20 minutes or so. I usually do 2-hour sprints. Trying to paint, get stuff done. sent the images. Let's see. Where is the ship from? This is from the game Blood and Plunder. It is a pirate or American buccaneering, sorry, Spanish main buccaneering. There we go. Elecman, I'm looking at the pictures you sent right now. I might need to look at the actual GW and paint names for this. As far as how I would go ahead and create this, I would probably start with the super dark Sons of Forest green base paint. It's like a nice somewhere between dark green and teal kind of thing. Like it looks dark green when you put it on, but then when you build it up, there's like teal colors in there that you can pull out, which is kind of what I'm thinking for when it gets brighter. I don't know, man. You pick green, which is like the color I paint the least. I don't know. Does anybody have any comments how we can get something like this painted? This is a bit out of my depth, personally. I could maybe see maybe if you for the base coat mixed greens and browns and like almost haphazardly put them all over the model, gave it a wash, and then dry brushed up. What would that be? No, it's not quite right, but a Nurgling green. I'm looking at the greens I do have, trying to get a sense of what I'd use. You know, if I was paid a commission to paint that model, what I would literally do was print that picture off, go into the game store, and just hold paint bottles up to different parts of it and try to match the paints that way. Because there's so much variation. There's lots of greens, lots of browns. It goes into yellow there towards the top, obviously. The thing that I can't quite place color-wise is like the mid-tone of the legs. Like that's kind of an odd greenish, brownish, yellowy. You might have to custom mix that one. Sons of Forest would be a good start. Yeah. Thank you. I'm not crazy. See, you said Xandri Dust. I'm also looking at XV88. It has some of that warmth to it that might work really well for the underwings and the bottom side of the legs. Color shift stuff would be awesome for iridescence. Certainly it would add to the beetle look. Boom, there we go. We got 2 ships. We got a bunch of grave markers. We got 2 hay bales. Color shift from green stuff. This is a turbo dork household. I'm just kidding. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. grabbing out some of the hay. Through. Alright, friends, I think I am about to wrap up here. Stuff is kind of at that fun point where it all just needs to dry. Okay. I'll be at it again very, very soon. I'll be going live for that as well. Because it was really nice to hang out. You know, for as crappy as an experience I had the other night at game night, I always have a wonderful time hanging out with y'all. So I deeply appreciate the hobby motivation that you bring to me personally, and I hope that I kind of threw that back at you. Hope you all have yourselves a wonderful day, and I will catch you all very, very, very soon in my next video. And y'all take care and